Now we're getting into your guys' territory. Jordan goes back and forth, obviously, on Microsoft and Sony. He knows a little bit about both, but this is definitely, I think, where we're going to have our meat of our episode. First off, let's talk about Neo and PSVR. Obviously, we're...
You might say that this is uncharted territory.
Oh, God. God. Going off of that...
I mean, Jared, you know that we're infamous for our PlayStation coverage here at Controlled Interests.
God, kill me. This episode's going to crash and burn.
I don't want to put up too much resistance, but...
Okay, so I'm moving past that. Neo and PSVR. We all are probably going to have some type of prediction. One of our predictions is probably going to be involved with Neo or PSVR at some point. So just real quick, I doubt we're going to have anything to say regarding anything besides our predictions, but do you guys think this will be successful? Do you think Sony's going to have the right messaging for both of these together?
I'm not worried.
You think they're gonna say the right things with Neo? They're gonna play you sweetly.
They're gonna play it off. I mean, it's gonna be great, obviously, and it's gonna look good or whatever. The problem they're gonna have is choosing when they show games. Explaining what console exactly this game is showing on, or is running on.
That's gonna be a big deal, yeah.
That's the thing that they have to kind of steer around. But ultimately, I don't think it's gonna be a huge deal. And this thing isn't going to sell like bonkers or anything, and they won't expect it to. But I think it's not going to hurt them, you know what I mean, in any meaningful way.
I think it's tough to talk about, right? It's obviously very, it's a subject that they're going to have to tiptoe on, and I hope that they have their message smoothed out. I hope it's clean. I hope there aren't any Ratchet and Clanks messing up their message there. But I really do hope that they don't really fuck it up, right? Because the worst thing they could do would be to do a side by side, something like that. Here's what the PS4 gameplay looks like, and here's PS4 Neo next to it, showing that your PS4 looks like shit. And I think that if they did something like that, people would freak out there at the conference, freak out online, and they're just going to get more hate and vitriol towards the Neo.
They know better. I mean, there's 40 million PS4s out there already. They wouldn't, slap all those people in the face publicly like that.
Microsoft can't wait to see what they do and see the reaction, because considering their console comes out a year later, the reaction that people have to PlayStation Neo is going to be a huge factor on whether or not the big boy is successful and what steps they take to market that and talk about it, So,
well,
I think
true, but if, let's say they both, Microsoft reveals big boy, Sony reveals Neo this year, Microsoft's going to be the one going first since their conference is earlier in the day, so they would have the first reaction, I guess.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about as far as a release, how this thing sells,
right.
How the market takes it. I should have worded that better. You're completely right about them actually announcing it, but as far as it getting to market, obviously Sony's going to be first, so we're going to see how that works out.
Yeah.
Like I said, we have a lot of predictions probably for these things, so I don't want to get too caught up, and we've talked about PSVR and Neo plenty on our other episodes. So if you want to check that out, go look on our YouTube or SoundCloud. Ad nauseum. So next up, Horizon Zero Dawn, everyone's favorite fall game that's no longer a fall game. Will we see more gameplay?
Oh yeah,
you so? Fucking better.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll actually?
So I think they did E3, Paris Games Week, and then maybe even PSX. I think they did 3 different conferences. I know they did the 2 last year where they previewed Horizon Zero Dawn, and every time it was the exact same demo, but just done 3 different ways. But it wasn't oh wow, this is so different than the other time you showed it to us. So I was like, really, this game's coming out next fall, and this is the only thing you can show us right now? So you better get some gameplay.
I want to see why I care about this character. The biggest thing is the gameplay looks cool, the environment looks cool, everything. I want to know why I care about this character.
Well, Aloy's not starting things off right. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to know what her story is, because right now it's future tech Far Cry Primal to me. It doesn't look like anything special, but I want to know why this is special, why this character is special, why this world is special. I want to know more,
Did you see the cinematic trailer?
Yeah, but it still hasn't done anything for me. I want more of this game. If this is going to be, it seems like this is an IP that they're going to put, a new IP that they're going to put a lot behind. I want to see why I should care about this. When Last of Us 2 was announced and it started getting talked about, I was figuring out why I cared about this game, why I was going to care about Last of Us, where I have no stakes in Uncharted. So,
well, I could agree with you there. Like, the cinematic trailer, I would say, brought some intensity. It upped the stakes for me, but it didn't make me necessarily care about the characters, what Aloy was going through and all that. I see that she's on a journey. I see that the stakes are high, but not necessarily why I should be concerned for her.
I want to have more character moments. Yeah. Specific character moments.
That'll happen in the game, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm already sold on it, so
Okay.
Well, okay. Yeah, I'm not at all, so I want to see.
I'm sold on it, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm not just like ultra hype at this point.
So the next two games we're going to be talking about have both been in basically development for a very long time, and hopefully they both release finally. First of all, Last Guardian. Will we get a release date? Will it be shown extensively? Will we just have a murmur? What's going on here with Last Guardian?
So I have a prediction about this, but we're definitely going to see the game.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'll save my specific prediction regarding the release date later, though.
Okay, so not too much about Last Guardian. We just want it out already.
Well, I will take the other side of that coin, Dom, and I will say you're getting a release date at E3, or they're dumb. Like, they're seriously dumb if they don't put out a release date.
I agree.
The second game, Neo, it recently had a demo that was divided. I think quite a bit of people. I didn't see a lot of people negatively reacting to the demo. I saw more favoritism of. I think a lot of people just didn't know what this game was. It looks interesting. Will we see anything with Neo extensively at Sony conference at all? Do you think it'll have a short little anything, or is this a game that's not? It's a Gamescom game. It's not an E3 game.
That's my take. This isn't an E3 type game.
Not quite, just because it is such a weird situation that the game's in. It was debuted, I think, in 2004, which is, before the days of the PS3, so I think they're kind of cautious with that game. It's not a blockbuster.
I also think it depends on whether or not From is going to be having anything at Sony too, because Neo is its own type of game, but it is very From-y, if that makes sense, From Software-y.
Oh, it's very Dark Souls.
Yeah, I think it also depends on whether or not From's there. So I'm going to go through some quick hitters here of games. You just let me know if you want to talk about it a little bit more. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, though it isn't a Sony first party, it is going to be shown extensively at Sony's conference. They're buddies now. Activision is in love with Sony now because obviously it's the winning console. Infinite Warfare, you guys have anything to say about it? Nothing? Call of Duty, boom, boom, yada, yada.
Don't really care.
Call of Duty Boom Boom, is that the new one?
I want to hear that you don't have to pre-order or you don't have to buy Infinite Warfare for COD 4 because that seems like it's gone in the very wrong direction. And as time has gone on, I said I definitely was going to get Infinite Warfare to play COD 4, but as I've thought about it more and wanted to be really involved in this industry, I don't think that's making the right decision for the industry with my pocket, and I don't think I should give in to having to buy a $60 game that I don't want to play a remaster.
Actually, you would have to spend $80 to get the deluxe edition.
You're right.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
I think you're right. They thought that was a good idea, but they should have just separated them. That was dumb. And then, bundle them if you want.
I think it will happen eventually.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
initially.
Once the game's out,
Right.
You'll be able to, I bet it'll just be digital.
Because this is driving those deluxe editions right now. So they're not going to ruin that.
But this is also driving the most disliked video in YouTube history.
Driving the internet up the wall, yeah.
You know what would be insane is if Battlefield 1 is and it also comes with the free remake of Battlefield 1943 or whatever it was. If they have a beloved old Battlefield game or Bad Company, if it was this comes with Bad Company or Bad Company 2 and you don't have to pay deluxe, how people would be so mad at Call of Duty, Yeah. So obviously that'd be something that had to be in the works. It can't just suddenly pop up.
That'd be tough to just whip up a remaster.
Dreams, the game that isn't really a game, doesn't really do much for me. It's like Project Spark PlayStation Edition.
I think we should refer to this game as Nightmares from now on, because that's the only thing I think of when I see them.
The worst part is that studio's so talented, and it seems like they're trying to be too artsy. That's my personal opinion.
I definitely think this is where Sony allowed Media Molecule to go off the deep end. Little Big Planet was already barely a game, and then you just let them do this shit. I'm like, no, guys.
And the Vita one, Tearaway or whatever, right?
Tearaway was fine. I think cool. I'm cool with Tearaway. I don't think there's it's offensive as far as this isn't a game, but I think Dreams is almost
Dreams is the type of game I expect from like Flower or those studios.
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, not even doesn't seem like a game. It just doesn't even seem like a complete experience. It seems like you're going to have to make everything yourself, and I don't know about that.
That studio is too talented for them not. I want to see a real game from them, man. Like a real game. They're talented.
Like, yeah, think if they were making like, yeah, kind of like an RPG or, you know, a 30-hour experience, something like that would be cool.
Yeah.
With still, it could be cutesy, you know?
Yeah. This is a great example of, we always talk about when publishers, you know, choke down studios with release schedules or sequels. Like, you know, maybe a studio wants to make something else, but the publisher says, nope, you're making number 4 in this series. You need it by next year, by the way, type of thing. And we complain about that a lot, but then this is kind of the other end of the spectrum, where I think Sony just said, yeah, go do what you want. And Media Molecule came back with nightmares.
Yeah.
This is, you know, we were talking about kind of specializing in Sony here. That's a good point to make there, is that one thing you got to know when you're talking about not even just first-party Sony, but Sony exclusives in general, you can tell that they have a lot of artistic freedom. They have a lot of comfort when it comes to their artsiness. They can go in a lot of different directions. You know, they can spend 10 fucking years on The Last Guardian and nobody gets their ass whooped. Like, what the hell, Sony? It's Microsoft is obviously very business oriented. They'll just, like, you know, cancel Fable Legends 75% through and tell all of Lionhead to go fuck off when they're one of the biggest studios, you know, in gaming history. It's like Microsoft's much more business about that stuff, and Sony's like, oh yeah, just, you know, keep on making The Last Guardian. It's a beautiful artistic masterpiece. We'll get it out whenever. So I think it would be nice if there was that third company, maybe Nintendo, that is actually that happy medium between artistic integrity and freedom.
You need
and the
both.
actual business side of things. Yeah.
So let's not dwell on this because people won't either when this game comes out. Next up, Persona 5 got a release date recently of Valentine's Day of next year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think this will be shown at Sony's conference?
Oh yeah.
Yep. In a big way?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I've got enough predictions here. I'll go ahead and just spoil one of mine because it's kind of just a general thing.
Okay.
I think that Persona is still very much a niche thing. You've got a lot of people in the, you know, games industry and a lot of like hardcore gamers evangelizing it among us because it hit so hard when Persona 4 was re-released on Vita as P4G. And I think that because of that, we as gamers are like, oh yeah, Persona, like Persona's going to be huge, but like the general American audience, though they're not probably watching E3, they still don't know anything about Persona, and I think you really need to prove that to them. And I think a great way to do that would be just, you know, blowing it out of the water with gameplay at the Sony conference. You know, obviously it's a PlayStation exclusive for PS3, PS4, and so, yeah, you do, you know, 10, 15 minutes of gameplay and show people what it's all about and show this American audience why this is the best time to hop onto the Persona series.
Is it a console exclusive?
Yeah, it's straight up like Sony, like PS3, PS4.
See, I'm sitting on the opposite side of that, I guess. So because this audience is so unfamiliar with it, I don't even think they're going to waste too much time trying to enter a market that really, you know, has no interest in this kind of game.
I don't know. I think Persona 5's the one that's going to change.
It will be shown. There will be like an audio cue or something where people start like hear it and they're like, and then if it comes from black to fade into something, I definitely think there will be something there. But my biggest problem with Persona is I think the packaging is really not great. It doesn't lend itself to letting you know what the game is. For the longest time before I knew what Persona was, you always used to see P4G. What the hell is that? It doesn't look interesting to me at all. But once I saw gameplay of Persona 4 Golden, it looked really interesting. It looked really cool. Like, I think they're gonna what they did last year with it. I think they're trying to hit a larger market, and I think this won't be fans of Persona. Here's Persona 5. I think it's gonna be the way this is messaged is gamers. Here's Persona 5. You know. I think it's going to be lending itself to people getting introduced to the series as opposed to it lending itself to the previous games. Kind of like how Witcher 3 came out and really didn't ever reference Witcher 2 or Witcher 1, you know? They're trying to hit that mass market now. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think like Witcher 3 was Witcher's time to shine. Persona 5 is obviously Persona's time to shine. And I personally, for me, I disagree with you, Jared, about the packaging or the cover art. With all that stylized stuff that they've got going on in the Persona games, they have, very artistic and creative menu systems and UIs. And for me, that's what draws me in. That's what entices me, is that really sharp contrast, that eye-popping and really stylized UIs that they use, which is, brought into the cover art and all that. So personally, I think that's what you use to really catch people's attention and catch people's eye.
But if you're going mass market, I don't think that's the right call.
But that's what I'm saying, is that's like where the stylized comes in, is because you're looking at all these 35-year-old shaved bald dudes with a gun in their hand, these white guys, and then you see these Asian school kids with this really cool, colorful cover, and I think that's eye-popping in it, and it grabs your attention and doesn't let you go, type of thing.
Yeah. So we have some quick hits here, and then we'll get into the other stuff. Destiny DLC, there was a live stream today as of recording this on Thursday of the new Iron, whatever the hell it's called. That'll probably be shown. Obviously, Sony's in bed with Activision, so something with that will be shown. There'll be the trailer for that new expansion. And I believe there's a new raid too, which Destiny fans will be excited for. Street Fighter V, hopefully they'll try to win the good graces of gamers, because that game, people didn't like the way it came out, and it was a skeleton of what they expected. Shenmue, we might see more of that. I don't know. I don't care. And No Man's Sky, Jordan was saying it'd be a shame if they showed this, because I think people are getting tired of it, which I agree with. Any of these 4 games, do you guys have any words on Shenmue, Destiny, Street Fighter V, No Man's Sky? Anything to say about this with Sony?
I want to reiterate the last piece about No Man's Sky, and I think Jordan's right that, people are done seeing trailers and previews and demos for this. Like, and then there was this delay. Like, no, just...
You guys want to watch Sean Murray fly through space some more?
Again, yeah, exactly. Like, we've seen it. We've been around the loop with this 100 times. Like, just give us the game.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things here with specific studios. Quantic Dreams, Detroit Become Human, Sony Ben's Dead Don't Ride. I think that's the right title, right? Yeah. And
if that is the title.
Yeah, and which is also a rumor. And then Santa Monica working on something. A lot of people speculate it's a God of War Asgard or whatever it's going to be called. You guys have these specific 3. Become Humans, obviously, already been shown. That's a definitive thing. Will we see it? Sony Ben Dead Don't Ride, is that the name? What exactly is that game, do you guys think? And Santa Monica is the game they've been working on, God of War 4. What do you think it'll be called? I want to hear a quick spiel about all those things.
Yeah, I'd say those are pretty big right there. 2 big ones. Dead Don't Ride, if that's what it's called. You're going to see Sony Ben's game, or I think you better, because, what happened with Sony Ben is they released Uncharted Golden Abyss on Vita in 2012, maybe even earlier, or not earlier because that's when the Vita came out, but it was, I think, 2012, early 13, and then they started prototyping other games, and eventually they got to an infamous Vita game that they even had playable, and they eventually decided to cancel it and never came out, which, seeing what Sony Ben did with Uncharted, I'm kind of almost happy that didn't happen, because I wouldn't have wanted them to ruin Infamous, but that's the reason that it's taken so long for them to get their next game out, because they got so far down the road with Infamous Vita and never materialized. So it's time for them. Ben, show us your freaking game. It's time to go. And then with Santa Monica, I'd say it's really 100% guarantee that God of War 4 is Viking stuff and Norse mythology, because we got that huge concept art leak and character models and all kinds of stuff, which showed that someone is working on a God of War game that takes place in Norse mythology. And who else other than Sony Santa Monica, who also got way down the road with a sci-fi RPG, even had the writer from Battlestar Galactica and ended up canceling that game. So both of these studios we've been waiting around for these guys, and it's time for them to show us their games.
And what about Become Human? I didn't catch you saying anything about that.
Become Human, that is, they revealed that at Paris Games Week last year, and it's based off of the Kara demo that Quantic Dream originally
which I
did,
loved.
which is pretty cool. The way that this is all panned out because that was a PS3 demo, but yeah, I think that game's going to be pretty big, especially with how big the whole Until Dawn situation was. People are cool with those games that are kind of more just like playable experiences in a way, and I think we're going to get some gameplay from Detroit for sure this year.
Yeah. Dom, anything to say about these? Bend,
I'm pretty much with you spot for spot, Jordan. We need to see Ben's game. We just have to.
Yeah.
It's time. It's Ben time, and we have to see it. God of War, I expect to see. It doesn't really pique my interest, but what was the other
Beyond?
Detroit, which is not the Detroit game I wanted. It's not Fallout Detroit, but oh well.
Which is ironic that it's called Detroit Become Human, and Fallout 4's whole story is of synths, and you want to Fallout
crossover? I don't know.
My biggest thing I want to leave with, and maybe you guys agree with me, maybe don't. One of these 3 games is a fall game this year. Sony's fall lineup is so barren with Horizon getting delayed that Last Guardian maybe. Like, one of these 3 games we just talked about has to be a fall game, I think. One of them has to be.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're done.
You don't think God of War? I could
think...
easily see God of War launching alongside the Neo.
So maybe, this was under my other tab on our prediction, so I'll go ahead and spoil another one for you here. Release date for Rise of the Tomb Raider PS4. Could supplement Last Guardian this fall.
Yeah. So, really quick, out of these 3 things, I want to hear what you think is most likely, or if a couple of them are likely, okay? Kojima coming on stage at all.
I definitely think that's likely because he's just been, having a splurge of concept art that he's releasing.
Okay. Crash Bandicoot in any form. A remake, a reboot, a new game, anything.
Not a chance.
Those buttheads will probably reference it again, but then, not actually make a game.
Will we see Sucker Punch's new game, and is it Spider-Man?
We will not see Sucker Punch's new game. It's been just over 2 years since Infamous Second Son was released. Then they had a big old meaty DLC standalone pack in Infamous First Light, which didn't come out for a while. That was way later on in 2014. Maybe even... I don't think it came out last year, but I think they're still a years away before even revealing, in my opinion. And Shuhei has said that he's played their game, but I'm not necessarily sure that he played,
Define play.
I'm not even sure that he played like an alpha or beta version. I think it was way even earlier than that. So.
Okay, out of those 3, what do you think is most likely, Dom? Do you think Spider-Man? Do you think Kojima coming on stage or just on video or something? Or Crash? What do you think is most likely out of those 3?
Kojima coming on stage, most likely. Crash Bandicoot, least likely. Infamous's game in the middle.
Yeah.
Or Sucker Punch me. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sucker Punch is not doing a Spider-Man game, but my God, that would be some real Sony genius. The right hand talking to the left hand and actually getting that Spider-Man license from Sony Pictures and making a dope-ass game. That would be, especially from a studio who obviously has incredible superhero pedigree under their belt.
So, thank you guys for watching the PlayStation Conference portion of the podcast. We're going to be jumping into everything else in the next part, so catch you guys on the other side.